Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Sage Intacct demonstration. I'm Neil Gabarnik, our Intacct sales consultant, along with Pierre Shields, our Intacct solutions consultant. A quick overview for today, about 5 minutes from me, 40 minutes from Pierre, and then some time for your questions. Before we move to the demo, just a little information about Vision 33. Selecting the right software is important, but the right partner is the real difference maker for your business. A few things Vision 33 brings to the table: extensive support and industry experience. We have many longtime customers who rely on our partnership to support their business, and we're a platinum Sage partner and a leader in the Sage community. Implementation is just the beginning of your journey. Vision 33 is here for long-term support and customer care. Ultimately, it's our consistency, reliability, focus on excellent customer experiences, and leveraging our knowledge to help you transform accounting frustrations into success and strategic growth. And like Sage, Vision 33 is a global company, but we like to say we operate as a small business. We're proudly Canadian, headquartered in St. John's, Newfoundland. Our main operations are in Canada, in the US, and the UK, and we have certified consultants to serve you locally. And here are some of our excellent customers running Sage Intacct. They come from all over the spectrum, including nonprofit, SaaS and technology, professional services, and more. And I'm sure most of you have done your initial research on Sage Intacct, but here are a few highlights. As you can see, Sage Intacct supports several industries and offers industry-specific functionality. Vision 33's biggest customer footprint is nonprofit, where we have approximately 35% of our client base. And building expertise in these verticals really helps us guide our customers down the right path with their implementation, including your sector's best practices for reporting. And here's a quick snapshot of Sage's global reach. Sage has millions of customers worldwide. And here's another snapshot that shows Sage Intacct's global reach, serving customers in 80 plus countries and in over 130 functional currencies. And if you're interested in the underlying numbers, Sage Intacct is as secure as it gets. You no longer need to worry about backups, downtime, and costly upgrades. It just works all the time. And Sage Intacct isn't a solution that was retrofitted for the cloud. It's a cloud native solution from its first line of code. It's an affordable, easy to use solution for finance teams that need only specialized finance tools. It's also a modular solution, which means you pay only for what you need now, and you can add more functionality when you need it. We call Sage Intacct the best of breed solution, and its open API makes it easy to seamlessly integrate with other best of breed solutions. And for integration, Sage has what's called the Sage Intacct Marketplace, filled with pre-built integrations to other best-of-breed solutions for CRM, e-commerce, and so much more. And if the solution you want to integrate isn't on the Sage Intacct Marketplace, Vision 33 can build the integration for you with Saltbox, which is our exclusive cloud-based integration solution built by our automation and integration experts. And just a final word about Sage Intacct's embedded AI. We want to introduce you to Sage Copilot. Basically, Sage Copilot is like getting a very smart productivity assistant. It gives you answers you can trust and tools for a smoother, faster month-end close. So be sure to ask your consultant about Sage Copilot when they follow up with you. So that's it for me, and now I'll turn it over to Pierre for the demo. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much, Neil. Thanks, Nicole, for setting this up. Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's demo. This is a great one. Today what we're going to do is we're going to be looking at the software at 30,000 feet. We're not going to be clicking all over the place and going feature by feature. We're really looking at an overview of what the product can offer you. It's a product, as Neil was saying, that's made for so many different vertical types of industries and businesses. So I'm giving you a little bit of a demo on a vanilla version, if you will. We're going to be taking a look how Sage can improve your visibility, how it can reduce your manual work, how it can reduce errors, how it can make things faster, cheaper, better, and so on and so on. So now I'm just going to share my screen and put my little PowerPoint on if you allow me to. So Today, what we're going to be doing, of course, it's the weekly demo. It's not an exhaustive demo. The reason we're showing you this is to give you enough information so that you move on to the next step and you want to have a discovery call with us so we can go into your workflows and your processes and the way that you work in particular to set up a demo that really resonates with you particularly. All right. We talked to a whole bunch of accountants over the last decades to find out what are the biggest things or the biggest requirements that keep coming back over and over again. I'm sure you'll recognize at least one or two of these. First one, I want to have visibility on the business in real time. Absolutely. If you get something, if you get your financials 2 months after the end of the month, way too late to react to anything. So we want everything in real time. And today, with the technology we have, we can get it. I want to get visibility without complexity. Absolutely. How do I create an environment without making my chart of accounts explode with all kinds of segments and so on when I want to be able to do some business intelligence? Well, we have something called dimensional accounting in Sage Intacct, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. Really interesting, really novel way of building reports and building a system. Next thing, I want to manage complexity and consolidation across entities. Yes, if you only have one entity right now, and your business is going to grow. Consolidating across multiple entities is someplace where complexity comes in. So Sage Intacct, actually, what's really amazing about what Sage Intacct does is it will grow with you. So when you start with your initial vanilla package, you don't need to have project management in there, and you don't need to have inventory. You don't need to have, it's a core package that can grow as you grow, and you can add entities as you start opening entities. So again, it's that nice, elegant step from using software like QuickBooks and moving on to something that's a little bit more evolved and that will answer your questions. Last thing, I want to close faster and with more confidence. Yes, we'll be talking about something called continuous close, which is absolutely amazing and it's going to help you save time and money with your auditors and also really easily find out what's been going on with your system. Another one, I want my system to be built with my needs at its core. If we have time, we'll talk about it. It's the best of breed example. Often we skip this one because Neil's already talked about best of breed, but if we do have time, I will chat about it a little bit because I like to talk. So now we'll go to reporting and dashboards. So this is how Sage Intacct presents itself. So the first thing I did is I opened up a dashboard. Sage Intacct comes with a myriad of dashboards that are built for your particular type of business. So our reports, our dashboards, the way the system is architected and configured is built really for, are you a non-for-profit organization? Are you a distributor, manufacturer, light manufacturer? Are you a software as a service, professional services? They all have different needs so that right from the hop, we will put in the dashboards and the reports that are used in best practices in your industry. What's really neat also with Sage Intacct is everything's built around best practices. So if you don't have a canned process on how do I close my months and things seem a little bit unclear, fantastic. That's what Sage Intacct is for. It's made to guide you through these processes. All right, so now we see there's dashboards over here. I have an analysis view dashboard group, which has all of these dashboards, compliance dashboards, dynamic allocation. The one I prefer using, no matter what vertical business, vertical industry you're in, is the role-based dashboard. So I come here and click on role-based dashboards. We'll go look at the CFO one first. These little stars are added are for my favorites. You just click when you want to go back to these software quick, you put a little star next to them and they're faster to access. So let's go to my CFO dashboard. Oh, I also want to say that what's really interesting about Sage Intacct is it's a fully cloud-based solution. It's not a software-based solution that eventually became a cloud-based solution. It's really a full cloud-based solution, which means you can work anywhere, anytime, which becomes a problem for some people. So when you're at the airport, as long as you have access to your tablet, you're fine and you're in business. All right, so let me go back to my dashboard here, role-based dashboard. So the concept of dashboard I find really interesting is that your employee comes in the morning and everything is right there. What do I need to do today? What do I need to address in terms of emergencies, in terms of things that are outliers? The AP manager has a dashboard built for them where they go in, there's a checklist of what needs to be done, what needs to be paid, and so on. AR manager, same thing, built around them. CFO, built around them. What's really interesting too is these dashboards are 100% customizable with a zero coding. So basically, everything here is drag and drop. I don't like the gifts received down here. I'm going to put it up on top. There we go. It's done. And also, there's multiple types of reports that you'll find, multiple types of indicators, the key performance indicators that you'll find on a dashboard. So we have what we call performance cards, which are these things up here. There are zillions of performance cards that you can use and put up on top. And what's really fun about your performance cards and everything else that's on here is, this is a new word I like to use, drill downable. Maybe that's not it. You can drill down on anything that you see here. So let's look at, for example, total expenditures. Okay, I see the expenditures were 9 million, oof, 9 million, 2 million over the prior year. I'll go click on this. It opens up a little window, which make it a little bit bigger. And here's where our $2 million come from. So what I can go see is there anything that's an outlier here that's problematic? If there is, let's go to program fees, click on it. And here's the drill down of every transaction that's happened for the program fees. I can, if I want, click on any of these transactions to go down to the core transactions. So if you have order entries or purchasing, it was done with the purchasing module, you'll go right down to those transactions. So that's fantastic for what if scenarios, for taking a look at where problems have happened. The dashboard is not where you do most of your analysis. The dashboard is an indicator, is something that flags things for you. You'll use the reports for what if scenarios and so on because it makes much more sense. Now, our chart of accounts we have, again, is built around your industry. We have, for example, here it's total expenditures, which is expenses in many other verticals, but in non-for-profit, it's expenditures. Each one of these indicators, these items here, these components can be drilled down on. So again, we have the components that are up on top here. We'll have reports. We can click on any of these features and have the underlying data. There's reports like this one here. Okay, let me go see liability short term. Oh, this is a bit high. Let's go take a look at what happened here. We'll click on this. It'll open it up and give us the underlying everything. Oh, 8,400. What's this about? I'll go take a look. Goes to the actual underlying invoice. It'll give me the information here that I want. I can go see what the history is on this invoice. Okay, I see it was approved once, no major problems with it. Has anything happened in posting? Yes. As soon as you submit it, it got posted. So we can go take a look at all of that just by drilling down from the dashboard. Something else that I find really neat. The chart of accounts is made up of our financial accounts, but we also have what we call statistical accounts. So if there are things that you need to include in your business intelligence, that is not a financial account, it can be added into the system and it can be used for computational reasons or for just display reasons. I'll give you a good example. So here, this is a non-for-profit and there's something called individual served. Individual served is not a financial account, it's a statistical account. And the number of individual served can be used for tons of different reasons. Here's another good one, cost per hour of learning. Well, we know what our cost of learning is. And we created a statistical account that's called number of hours of learning. So then we're able, by bringing these together, to tell what our average cost of learning is. Again, so you have your statistical accounts, you have your typical financial accounts that you use together for your BI. Okay, so again, dashboard is in real time. Nothing is static. Every number that you see can be drilled down into, unless it's a calculated field with statistical accounts, as you were saying. There's no Excel reports, there's no manual consolidation, there's just one version of the truth, and this is it here. What's really interesting too is this is the overall business, but I'll show you something called dimensions very shortly. This is the CFO dashboard for the entire business, but you know what? I only want to go see it for the counseling services department. So now you'll notice, I'll click on apply and all the numbers get changed. So everything updates, and if I click to drill down, it will bring me to the underlying transactions for that department. What I can also do is, as you were saying here, we have departments. I also have funds/entities, projects. I could come in here and say, oh, you know what? I want the fund to be the interfaith action for counseling services department. What have they done? There we go, 3.52 million and so on. Oh, zero membership fees. What's happening here? So we can, with these drop downs here, what we call the dimensions, we can do some drilling down per permutation. Typically, you would use a segmented chart of accounts to create an environment where you can do some what if scenarios like this. But with Sage Intacct, we use what's called dimensions. I'll show you those in a couple of seconds. I think I've showed you everything I want to show. Oh, no, you know what? So there's the CFO dashboard. What's really interesting is there's the AP manager dashboard. So let's go take a look at that. Excuse me, I'll just come up here. So we have our AP and our AR. Let's go to AP Manager first. And here's our AP Manager. So we have our vendor aging, accounts payables, and so on and so on. Everything that they need is right here. There's these pretty little on-the-fly updatable graphs, which are really neat. Which, here for example, okay, here it is. I could come in and change any of these values up here, and in real time, it'll change everything that I down here. And of course, everything that's visible here can be drilled down on. Something I also find fun is we were saying, for me, a dashboard is a one-stop shop. So your employee comes in, they open up the dashboard. Oh, okay, all this looks good. AR customer analysis looks good. But they also have a custom navigation bar right here. So anything that they need to access frequently will be put in here. So what do our AR people do? Yeah, well, they create customers, they create invoices, they receive payments, they run customer aging, they run AR ledgers, and they run receipt registers. So without having to navigate anywhere in the system, they're in their dashboard. They can go click on create a customer right there. So one-stop shop. So the question we ask ourselves when we just saw our dashboard with all kinds of KPIs, which are really interesting, how is the system architected, or what is the architecture that supports this? So how does the system make this level of reporting possible without becoming overly complex? Now, 99% of you that are out there will know exactly what I'm talking about when I move on to the next thing. Okay, reporting on dashboards we just saw. Now we're going to do dimensions. So this is visibility without complexity. We're not going to go through all the details of the things I have on the PowerPoint, but again, big picture, 30,000 feet. So Sage Intacct, Sage Intacct dimensions versus traditional ERPs. So here we'll have a traditional ERP with a chart of accounts. They become complicated when you want to add some business intelligence. For example, here we have our marketing account. Well, if we want to be able to pull our numbers out, our expenses by marketing and also by division, well, we have to have different accounts for each of them. So East, West, Canada, and so on. And the more business intelligence you want, the more segments you end up creating. Sage Intacct has a different philosophy. So everything that shouldn't be in your chart of accounts is put into something else called a dimension. So you'll have your marketing expense account, fantastic, but you'll also have buckets of information or tags, if you will, for your departments, your location, your customer, your projects, your entity, and these are 100% determined by you. So if you are in a business where you need to track certain things, you will use those dimensions or you will use dimensions to track them. There's an infinite, I shouldn't say this in front of the implementation people, but there's an infinite amount of dimensions that we can use. What's really interesting again is when you create your account, you create it once. You're not creating 100 different accounts for different permutations of segments. Let's go take a look. Oh, I'm going to show you something very quickly. So the list of our dimensions, these are dimensions that come with the system. They can be renamed, they can be reused. There's custom dimensions that can be invented if you want. So we'll have, for example, assets, restrictions, contracts, customers, departments, and so on and so on. So the ones that we use in this software are the sites. We have departments. We also use funds and entities, and I'll show you those in a couple of seconds rather. All right. So let's go look at an order. Let's just go look at a typical order. I'm not going to type it in. We won't edit. We don't create new ones. So just this will give you an idea of how the system works for this. So let's go take a look at. All right. So here's our sales order. As I was saying, what's really interesting is that we have all of our history here. If anything happened, oh, okay, it went from a sales order to an invoice. So we're able to follow anywhere we are in the system where these orders are. So here we go. For example, when we create a sales order, everything that we put into the customer record for the particular customer we're using will be used to populate the header. So their terms, their ship via, their contacts, and so on. If they're properly configured in the customer record, will show up here. So you don't have tons of stuff to do up on top, which is really great. But here I'll show you. Okay, so the item is a granted award. The project or the grant is 999 non-project. This is one of our dimensions. The department is 120 food services. There's the name of the fund or restriction on the site. What's really neat about this is, once again, you can now, since in the transaction we've put in these different dimensions, we can use them for reporting and we can use them for analytics. So let's go take a look. Because the question we'll always ask ourselves is, okay, well, can I slice and dice my data? How do I slice and dice my data now that I've created dimensions to be able to logically group what's happening? So let's go to financial reports right here. I'll show you a quick report. Every report that's here comes straight out of the box. Well, certain reports come out of the box depending on what industry. They can be copied and modified by you. They're, again, zero coding. There's just some configuration needs to be done. But again, the system is meant to be used by users. Something I didn't mention also is that every label in the system can be modified to match the labels that you use right now. So if you don't use the word vendor, but you use the word supplier, you just go modify it in there. And what's interesting is when your employees come in for the first time to use the software, they recognize things. Nothing's out of, there aren't bizarre things that they weren't expecting. It really looks familiar to them. So the learning curve is very, very short. All right, let's go take a look at revenue and expenditures. So every report that we have in our report section can be exported in HTML, CSV, PDF, or Excel. The CSV, PDF, and Excel versions, you can't click down to drill down. But the HTML version, yes, if you have access to the system and you're a system user, you can click to drill down on your HTML versions of the reports, which is really powerful. You can also schedule your reports so that they get sent to your salespeople once a week so that they know how things are going. You can schedule a report to any department just to, and so that everybody knows where they are in the system. And you can also help deal with tasks, if you will, that you're pushing out to people. All right, so let's go take a look at this one quickly. Revenue and expenditures. We'll go look at the HTML version. Oh, and it'll ask me for the date. So it's 01/01/2019, if I'm not mistaken, in this environment. There we go. So this is the report that was just generated, and it's generated with the dimensions that are the sites. So I have a main site, a Smithwick site, a Vance, a Reedville, and here's all sites combined. So this is really neat. So here, sites are dimensions. They're not financial accounts. My accounts are over here on the left-hand side in this case. What if I want to slice and dice this differently? What happens when at the board they say, hey, this is really neat, this is fun. I'd like to see it by department, please. Okay, so in typical systems or in the olden days, we'd go back to Excel and take a week to munch stuff together and bring it to the next board meeting. And they say, oh, did I ask you for this? I don't remember asking you for this. So now you can, on the fly, create these reports very, very quickly. I'll show you how, for example, we'll slice and dice what we just saw in terms of revenue and expenses. Again, the column headers were by site, which is a dimension. What if you want them by department? So I'll click on revenue and expenditures. This isn't training. So again, wherever I click, you don't need to know what's going on. I'm just showing you big picture how this works, but it's not training. So I'm going to come to my columns. I'm going to click on columns. So you see here, everything's grouped by sites. I want to do it by department, I think I said. So I'll come in here and I'll say department. And here, department sort. So again, zero programming. Haven't done anything sophisticated yet. Sites, I want departments. There we go. And I click, oh, I got to change this again. Excuse me, to the right date. I'm going to click on preview. When I preview, it previews it in HTML, of course. So now we see that we have up here, these are all of our dimensions. You can have reports on any permutation of dimensions. You can break it out in a myriad different ways. Once these reports are modified or configured like this, you simply save them, save as. So you don't have to configure, you're not configuring it all the time. Once it's done, it's done. But if you do need to configure, you see how dirt simple it is. All right. All right. Next thing we're going to look at. So we looked at reporting and dashboards. We looked at dimensions. We're going to look at multiple entities. Well, multiple entities, once you start growing, are really interesting because they render consolidations completely transparent. It's amazing how much time is saved, how much effort and frustration, and you name it. So how do multi-entity works? I'll give you a quick PowerPoint to explain what I mean by multi-entities, and then we'll go take a look at them on the system. So multi-entity. An entity is a distinct financial unit within your organization that maintains its own books, transactions, and reporting. They'll have a separate legal, it could be a legal entity, a business unit or a division, a local branch, a chapter, a fund, or operating segment. What's interesting is, again, you create them according to your needs and the type of industry that you're in. So let me go show you what we do with our multi-entity stuff. There's a lot of entities in this one. I'll show it to you anyway. If I can scroll over. So here we have something that we call our top level. Top level is where we'll configure our vendors, our customers, our GL, things that are really shared over the entire business through all of its entities. So I have a not-for-profit entity here. Here, for example, and I have one of the entities is Interfaith Service and Learning, and they each have their own funds. These could be funds, these could be locations, these could be sub-entities, if you will. So what's really neat is we see them here in a kind of visual fashion, but we'll notice up here there's a pill. It says top level. And then we have all of the entities that we use. Well, these are the ones I typically use. And then the ones down here that are also in the system that aren't used, that haven't been used recently. What's really neat is you don't have to log in and log out and log in and log out. You're logging in once to your system and there you are. So for example, I'm in the top entity right now, but I know that I want to go see something in my interfaith action entity. So I'll click on it. It opens up a new window in the browser, a new browser window. Yeah. And now I can just go from one to the other back and forth depending on where I'm working. Now you'll notice here we're in the interfaith entity, so it's the only one listed here. And of course, we have the funds that are below it. Let me come show you something else here. So I'll go to consolidation, then I click up here and run consolidation. Now, some of my entities can be in different currencies, not a problem. They do have to share the same chart of accounts, but besides that, there are no real issues that are complicated. The intercompany eliminations are automatically created when we create your instance. So when you create a bill in a certain entity and it's pointing to another entity, you don't have to do the work of eliminating those. It'll be done automatically during consolidation. So here you'll see that I've consolidated a few. To consolidate for March 2021, I simply come click here and click on consolidate. I won't do it now because I want to save this environment as it is, if you don't mind. So we click this, we select it, click on consolidate, done. We also can create books for all of our consolidations. So I can consolidate the East Coast of North America. I can do the southern part of the US. I can do Western Canada. You can group these together into your consolidation books, and it's much, much easier to work with. So once I get out of my consolidations here, I'll come and I'll click on reports. Oh, here's just something that's interesting, this little sidebar. So we see it says financial reports here in the consolidation application. But if we come to reports, we'll also see financial reports. So the navigation is as user-friendly as it can be, and you shouldn't have to click away from many things to get your work done. So if you're in consolidation, you want your financial reports, why would you want to go back to reports and tinker around there? You simply want to come and look at your reports right here. It's giving me this warning because I'm leaving without saving anything. So let's come see balance sheet consolidated view. Click on this. Here we have filters. When these reports were put into place, they were put into place with filters that can, if you want, be filled in to simplify the report as it comes out, but you can filter after the fact without an issue. All right, so here we can see that this is our consolidated balance sheet. We have my different departments or my different entities, and so you can follow them all the way along here. I also have my elimination account, which is anything that happened during the elimination transactions will show up in this section here. And I think that's it. That's all I have to show you on consolidations. And consolidations, typically if you have more than one entity, the way it happens is people are sending Excel spreadsheets all over the place. And 1 week after head office has compiled everything and somebody realizes, oh, there was an error in our spreadsheet. Can you start over again? And things get really complicated really, really fast. So we've done reporting and dashboards. We've done dimensions. We've done multiple entities. And let's go take a look at something called continuous close. Continuous close is really, really, really powerful. And I'll show you why. So traditional close, we do our work during the month, but at the end of the work as well, we reconcile, we consolidate, we find our errors, we clean up the system, we will. In Sage Intacct, continuous close is, as the name suggests, throughout the entire period, we are continuously closing. And I'll show you how we do that. There still is an end of period process, but it's a lot faster and it's a lot easier to work with, seeing as how you're cleaning up as you go. It's a little bit like a friend of mine was telling me the story. As he walks out of his house, there's a little flower bed next to the walkway, and as he walks out every day to go to work, he'll pick whatever weeds he sees. That way, when the weekend comes up, you don't have to pick tons of weeds. You're just keeping it clean all through the experience. All right. Some of these I'll be showing to you on the software, but most of them I'll be showing you in PowerPoint because the software, it gets a little bit too long. And again, it gets a little bit too long to show you in depth, and we're at 30,000 feet here. So active automation, these are the things that happen throughout the period. So we have accounts payable automation, accounts receivable, bank feeds, static and dynamic allocations, general ledger outliers, and subledger reconciliations. Some of these I find uber powerful. I guess actually I should find them all powerful. I guess with time you kind of some of them are that's become expected. End of period automation. So we have something called the closed workspace, which I'm going to show you, the AI closed assistant, and insights and AI help. In this environment, unfortunately, I don't have access to the closed assistant, but I'll explain to you how it works anyway. All right. Accounts payable. Let's go right back to the interface if you don't mind. So let's go to our accounts payable. AP, I'll go look at my bills. And the bill I want. Oh, okay, I can do this one. Chase. So actually, what I'm going to do is is there one that's uploading? Let's go view one of these. So this bill was created through the system, was imported. We have, as I was showing you, we have the posting details, what's happened and where has it happened. We have our history. We have transactions again, retainage, release details if we do have them. And down here we have our transactions, which are really fun because again, we have our different dimensions that are here. When we want to import a bill, to look at one that's been done here. So let's go click on this one. When a bill comes in from your supplier, you can send it to an email that will, through optical character recognition and AI, it will take that bill that you receive from your supplier and they will create a bill in the system for you. But what's even neater is that it's going to start filling in dimensions once it learns how your bills are normally processed. So day one, it won't be able to fill in the dimensions, but given time, it will be. So here's an example of one that I imported. And you'll notice the amounts here, program, the accounts, the funds, and so on. When I imported this bill off the hop, the fund was not filled in. The departments weren't. The projects or the grants weren't either. So when you import through OCR and create a bill, it's going to be created in draft mode. Somebody has to go through it. And you're not keying stuff, but you're having to check if it's done properly. And when you go through it, you'll fix the dimensions, or you'll set the dimensions here, and the system will learn. Here, let's go take a look at, this is the attachment itself that I brought in. You'll see it's not the prettiest invoice. It's quickly created on a napkin almost. I even spelt the supplier's name wrong to see if it would go through. So here, for example, the items I put in were boxed lunches, 15 of them at a certain price, iced tea, service fee, and so on and so on. So bare bones bill, nothing complicated. And again, it's reflected down here. So what it does is it'll come in, it'll fill in my memo items through the descriptions of the items. It'll put in the amounts. And if it can, as I was saying, it will put in the dimensions. Again, not day one, but after you've done enough from the same supplier, it'll start filling them in for you. All right, let me go back to my PowerPoint. So vendor bills are captured, coded, and approved automatically, keeping payables accurate and up to date. So really great, and it's done. It's a question of seconds. Oh, and as I was saying, what you do is when you receive it, you can send out what you received to a particular email that will create the invoice for you in the system, or you can simply go into your AP and click on Upload Invoice. Accounts receivables. Well, invoicing and cash applications are streamlined, improving collections and real-time cash visibility. So you have automated customer communications, which are great for your receivables, collections activity management. So it's not ad hoc anymore. There's actually a system, there's reminders, or you do things in this order. There's of course, the aging that's there to help you. We have a customer self-service portals where they can come in and find out where they're at with their payables to us. And there's also cash application management and forecasting and reporting. So very, very sophisticated for accounts receivables. Bank feed automation. Okay, so bank transactions are automatically imported and matched, turning reconciliation into a continuous process. So again, you're not doing it at the end of the month, you're doing it as they happen. Static and dynamic allocations. This one's fun. So if you have, for example, rent that you pay on a certain building and you have 4 departments in there, and you want to charge the rent on your 4 departments per square footage occupied. Well, you can easily do that with these static allocations, where you can say ahead of time, Department X has 25% of the rent, Department Y pays 15% of the rent department, and so on and so on. And what the system will do is it will automatically, once you select how to allocate, it will automatically create those transaction lines. Dynamic allocations are even more fun, a little bit more complex, but more fun. If you have, for example, numbers that you need to calculate, or if you have expenses you need to, for example, allocate on something that is not in the system in real time, but depends on something else, you can do it with dynamic allocations at the end of your process. And everybody's going, what the heck is he talking about? I'll give you an example. We have a bonus pot that goes to the whole month for a certain department, but we want to prorate it by the number of hours employees have worked. Well, you don't know that until you get to the end of the period because how many hours have they worked? So by using the statistical accounts, which are the hours worked per employee, the system will retroactively calculate how the bonus gets split up and will split it automatically into different transaction lines. So very, very sophisticated because it allows you to automate things that are known knowns. This is fantastic. General ledger outlier automation. This one, I'm not going to go through the system, but I'm going to show you a quick slide of what it looks like. So the system flags unusual transactions early, helping detect errors and reduce financial risks. This, to be honest, this is one of my favorites. I know I've said that 12 times already, but this one is really one of my favorites. What the GL outlier will do is it's going to take a look at your typical transactions and will let you know when there's a transaction that it finds something's happening here, something's weird. Let me go show you what it looks like on the not on the software, because here's what the GL outlier looks like when you're running on your system. Now, GL outliers need time to learn what an outlier is. So you won't get them day one. So as you work with your system, they'll start popping up. But it takes a while for the system to learn what's going on. See, for example, the one that it comes up with is these combinations are unusual, account, department, location, amount. So it'll tell you what's going on. Something is weird. Either something was coded in the wrong department, maybe it was coded in the right department. So what you do is once you go take a look at what the outliers are, you validate them. Is this really an outlier or is this not an outlier? It's not an outlier because exceptionally this month, reason XYZ, you put it in a memo attached to this GL outlier so that when your auditors come and look at this outlier in 6 months, you don't have to remember what the heck was this about. Your note is right there, saving them time, saving frustration, saving money. And this gets done as the month is moving on so that when you get to the end of the month, your GL outlier should be a tiny, tiny little thing. All right. So again, GL outlier, really powerful. It'll come out with false positives for you, but it's great because it learns with the system. And I think you'd rather have false positives where you say, no, this is fine, than the opposite. Subledger reconciliation automation. So subledgers are continuously reconciled to the general ledger, eliminating last minute reconciliation work. And we also saw when we were looking at, I think it was in a sales order, we were able to look at what the posting was. There's a tab for posting. So you go right on that and take a look at where are things posted, and they're all posted immediately. End of period automation. This is a fun one. So this one, we'll go look at the close workspace. Close workspace. So I don't know if you remember what I was saying at the beginning is, some businesses are growing, and as they grow, they need to can a process for their official end of month close. Well, what's really fantastic is there's an actual checklist built for you in what's called the close workspace. So I'm going to come take a look at this one. Let's say I view it. Okay, this is fun. The header information, yeah, is fantastic, but here's really not what I want to look at. So here are all the tasks that need to be done to close my period. What's really neat is the tasks are sequenced and they're all here. And what's even more fun, so let's take a look. So very first one we have review bank reconciliation. Fantastic. We have the description. Here's the link. When I want to review bank reconciliation, I'm not going all over my menus and finding out how the heck do I do this. I click on review bank reconciliations. It'll pop up whatever outliers there are. There are none in this environment right now. But if there is one. But if there were any, we can come right here and we can resolve them right away. All right, so you'll notice, for example, we have review bank reconciliations, close cash management, reviews unposted bills, and so on in a logical order. To make sure that the logical order is maintained, there's dependencies. They're defined over here. For example, you can't close your cash management until you reviewed all of your bank rec. So that makes sense. So until this is done, this will not be finished or done. So it helps. And I know you've all seen this before where you close your month and you forgot to do something, so you want to reopen it for a second to go do whatever. You reopen it for a second, and four other people have injected things in that zero point 0.5 seconds that you had opened it. Not an issue with Sage Intacct. It's very well controlled. So we have also for each one of these features here, we have a task owner, so we know who's doing what. We have a start date and end date. We have dependencies, as we were saying. We want to know, are we on schedule or are we not on schedule? And the state of our task. So as you go through, and I'm a checklist guy, I'm getting, gray hair. I forget things. But by doing this, you don't forget. It's right there in your face. Now, was it Neil that was saying that I don't have access to the Copilot AI feature today, which is unfortunate, but I will describe it to you. When you click on your Copilot, actually, you run Close Assistant, and it will give you everything it's outstanding. So you have through AI, it's going to go to make sure that it's going to give me an error, but that's not a problem. Actually, it's going to ask me for the period first, then it's going to give me an error, but that's not a problem. It goes through every single step, and you're able to look at variances and you're able to do your analysis as you're closing your month without having to guess. So the AI assistant, very, very powerful. Another thing it does is it creates up here what's called insights. So as it learns how you work and what you're doing, it'll populate insights. So when you're closing your month, it'll go up to insights and it'll give you a heads up on some best practices that you can put into place. Chat down here, I can also chat in to the AI in plain English or plain English, French, whatever language you're using. What's interesting though is the AI that we use, the LLM that we use is not a public one. It is really a Sage Intacct AI. So if you type in, how do I fix my canoe? It's not going to know. But if you ask, how do I reconcile my my bank statements? Click, click, click. It'll let you know how, and it's going to give you a heads up on it. So everything is secure. Nothing about your business goes out anywhere. It belongs to you, and it's only under your roof. So we went through a close assistant as well. So here we are with our Sage Intacct recap. So we saw that we have real-time visibility through dashboards, which are customizable to anything that you want, essentially. And they're customizable by you. And there are permissions and security settings and roles that you set up according to all the best practices in the industry. It's not a free-for-all of who can access what. We also saw that we have flexible analysis with dimensions. As you create your dimensions, they're very easy to populate. They're very easy to use as well. We saw we have strong multi-entity consolidation, so you're not having to deal with currency and exchanges and everything else. It's automatically done in the system. And we saw that there's a continuous close instead of a month-end chaos, which I don't want to be disparaging or anything, but usually month ends become very, very stressful and very complicated. And most of your time, if ask anybody who's working in your accounting department, most of your time is spent compiling all of the information and not enough is spent analyzing. And we want to kind of turn that pyramid upside down. Your smart people should be doing things that require smarts. Last one was best of breed architecture. Neil talked about that, so I'm not going to be talking about it today. And with that, that ends my spiel. Once again, I want to mention though that this was a 30,000-foot view of what the system can do. We haven't talked about myriad of features that we would talk about if once we design a custom demo for you. So I encourage you to talk to your sales representative to have a discovery call to find out what processes are important to you, what your workflows are, security, where your bottlenecks are, where your pain points are, and so on. And then what we do is we build a custom demo that's going to last a couple of hours that you should recognize. You'll recognize the items and the clients and the vendors. As we move to the next step, it should be more and more concrete. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Pierre. You did a great job again. Thanks so much, everyone. Take care.
Thanks. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.